Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Tuesday. It means we're brought to you by Immense. Got Jordan Kitchens, Cassie Spazali back there on the ones and twos. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Glenn West talking Will Wade press conference as well as some LSU spring football in 30 minutes. We'll talk to Sharif Ishak about the Saints in an hour and a half. There's kind of a change in the administrative situation with LSU athletics that Michael Clavel talked about a little bit yesterday and that he got from LSU AD Verge Osbury yesterday. I heard that sound now that I've had the chance to go back and listen to everything. And I want to talk about that coming up at 2 o'clock. There's a mock draft out on ESPN.com and then a best fit for each player that's supposed to go in the first round. What lines up with the New Orleans Saints. We'll do that coming up at the end of the hour. LSU and Southern tonight from the box. So this is the time of year where there's just always a lot to talk about. It's my favorite time of the year. Let's get into some spring football. I'll tell you what I saw. It's our opening drive.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive. Presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
It's week 2 of LSU spring football. Tigers back on the practice field today, had the shoulder pads on, had the helmets on. There was a little bit more contact today than what I had seen last week. Not tackling, not anything violent, but certainly some guys blocking. There was a little bit of more physicality at practice today, I think is fair to say, in our 20-minute viewing period. I did something today that was unintentional, but I felt like it was kind of valuable, and I'll let you know how that kind of went. I forgot to bring my roster in to the 20 minutes today, which is not the end of the world because I don't look at it a lot while I'm out there. I do numbers. It's very difficult right now for all of us to keep up with everybody because there are so many new faces and because a lot of them are far away. So what you're doing is trying to put as much stuff down in your notebook and then redigest it after you're done. And so you don't do a lot of name stuff anyway. But candidly, and I talked to Matt about this after practice, he feels the same way, and I'm confident that most of the guys on the beat feel the same way. If you watch 5 wide receivers run through and run slants, you probably can't name 3 of the 5. Maybe you can. I can't. Now, I certainly can write their number down, and I know who all these guys are when I go and check the roster, but when I was going to LSU football practice in 2011, if 5 guys ran slants, I knew who all 5 were because 3 of them had been there for 3 years. One of them was a 5-star freshman, and the other one I knew was a walk-on. Like, this is a new era of covering practice, especially when it's spring. None of these guys have played in games. At wide receiver, Phillip Wright is one guy. Nobody else has ever done a practice at LSU. It's tough. So I say this to suggest, like, I don't know who these guys are when I watch them go through a rep. I know who DJ Pickett is. Got it. I know Prince William-Monmiel's number 1. I didn't have any trouble with him. I know Ty Benefield is 2. I got that one figured out. PJ Woodland's 11. Devon Keys I can spot very easily. Like, there are guys out there I certainly recognize, but a lot, especially on offense, where they overhauled the whole thing, like, I don't know. So today, when I realized I had forgotten my roster, I went, okay, instead of taking roll real fast, why don't I just see who stands out to me? I won't know who they are. I won't know where they came from. I'll just see what stands out, and then I'll write it down, and I'll go check and see who it is when I get back to my desk, and I've got the roster in front of me. And so I did that. And it actually worked out because I was watching wide receiver, and there was a guy that stood out to me with his fluidity and route running. He made a ridiculous one-handed catch on a fade route. There was no defense on him, but it just showed the hands. The speed, like, he just looked really good out there, and I wasn't 100% sure who it was. I get back to my office, Jace Brown, Kansas State. The fastest Kansas State Wildcat ever to 1,000 yards, sophomore record holder in receiving yards at Kansas State, massively productive in the Big 12, figures to be a big part of what LSU's doing this year on offense. Jace Brown absolutely stood out. Now, the position group we absolutely get the best look at while we're there because they all work daily in the same spot on the field, and we're only allowed to walk the perimeter. So the offensive line is like 125 yards away from us. If the closest you can get to them is like 70 yards. You can't really get to the offensive line. The running backs are right next to us. I mean, I was in the drill at one point on accident. They started laying out cones for the next thing they were going to do, and I had to move. We're right there with Kevin Smith and the running backs. And I know who Caden Durham is, no issue there. And I know who Harlem Berry is, no issue there. But you realize that they brought in 4 transfer running backs, and I don't know them based on what number they're wearing. I have no idea. But I looked over, and I have it right here in my notebook, 13, really physical. It was obvious. And 13 is Dylan Jones. Dylan Jones, the Wisconsin transfer, is significantly bigger than the other running backs you brought in. You went and got Rod Gainey. You've got Harlem Berry trying to put weight on him. But if you look at the roster, Harlem Berry is 5'11", just like Dylan Jones, but Harlem Berry is 187 pounds. Dylan Jones is 211. It's almost 25 pounds of difference between those two guys. And Caden Durham is up over 200 pounds, but he's only 5'9". Jones is 5'11". So Jones also goes through a lot of the drills first. That I don't think is a big deal. It's March still. Doesn't apply tomorrow, but it's March right now. And so I don't think it's a huge deal that he's going through the drills first. But he is different than the other backs. If you're looking for differentiators, he is different than the other backs. And so I think it makes sense to suggest he could find a role as a more physical back in this LSU offense than perhaps Harlem Berry, than Rod Gainey, than Racine Guillory. He's just bigger. So that obviously stuck out to me. I was talking to Matt after practice, and to him, he goes, hey, who's 3? He stood out. Trey Wilson from the Florida, former 5-star, because he looked really explosive. Matt was in the same deal. He didn't have his roster with him either. And that doesn't impede our ability to take notes. I've got all kinds of numbers right here, but I didn't know while I was out there. So there's no way for me to know who's a 5-star, who's a former 1,000-yard receiver, who is a walk-on. There's walk-ons out there that from 40 yards away, going through drills, look the same as some of the scholarship guys. Now, they're not, but some of these guys stand out, and I thought that was impressive. Now, some of the other things that I noticed at practice today. Sam Levitt, worth noting, was out there, as we expected, had the shoulder pads on, going through all the drills first as a quarterback, throwing the route tree. They were working on the read option mesh point with the running backs at essentially full speed, and Levitt would give, and then he'd jog off to the side, looked okay doing that. This is the first time I saw him sit out of a practice rep. They got into a shotgun formation as it looked exactly as like they were working the read option reps, but instead, the running back was aligned to the left of the quarterback. They snapped to the quarterback, and the quarterback just ran off left tackle with the running back as a lead blocker. And Levitt didn't do those reps. Not surprising, but noteworthy. We're out there 20 minutes. We're monitoring Sam Levitt. He's throwing every rep. He's doing the read option stuff. He's not out there for 11 on 11, and he's not doing the quarterback sprint stuff. That's almost the last thing for him to do. It's like the last few boxes to check are going to be running, cutting, 11 on 11. That's probably your last 3, I would guess. So right now, not doing the running portion of things. Landon Clark and who's on Longstreet are handling that. Trey'Dez Green was in a black jersey today. I've never seen an LSU player in a black jersey at practice. In Les Miles' time, the no-contact jerseys were green. Over the course of the Ogeron Kelly eras, the no-contacts were yellow, and the quarterbacks were in yellow and have been all spring, and were in yellow today. Trey'Dez was in black. I don't know what that means, but I can tell you that the first-team offense went out there to run 11 on 11 in a very high-speed walk-through thud period. It was not overly physical. There was nowhere near tackling, but just kind of get the juices flowing a little bit for both guys, 11 on 11. And you saw Trey'Dez Green was not participating in that. You saw the Pittsburgh transfer, Malachi, didn't write it down. The Pitt transfer, he was out there handling things as the tight end. Now, when I looked at the defense as LSU was running that 11 on 11, I found this to be interesting. They went to their dime package. In the dime package, Devon Keys came off the field at linebacker. TJ Daugherty was the only linebacker in the middle of the defense. When Keys came off the field, onto the field came Jakeem Jackson at outside corner. So the former Florida transfer, veteran player, he played on the outside. You saw P.J. Woodland bump inside. So you had Jakeem Jackson and DJ Pickett at the corners on the outside. You had Jakeem Jackson inside at the nickel, and you had Deshaun Spears playing at the dime, where he has played. You can call it the star, you can call it the dime, whatever. That's where he played last year when he had the couple picks against Florida. And then in the defensive backfield at safety, you had Tamarcus Cooley and Ty Benefield. So your back end of the defense in the dime was Jakeem Jackson, DJ Pickett, P.J. Woodland, Deshaun Spears, Tamarcus Cooley, and Ty Benefield. That is a remarkable amount of athleticism for LSU on the field at one time. Now, that's going to apply when they're playing against teams that are spreading the field, teams that are 2-minute offense, teams that are down 20 points in the fourth quarter. That's when you're going to get this load of defensive backs out there, and that's what you saw here. Up front, you saw the guys that have been on the ends the entire time as the first team, Jordan Ross from Tennessee and Prince William Onmielen from Ole Miss. Those are your two edge guys. And the interior, that's swapped a little bit. But one guy is playing in the middle more than the other guys with the first team, and that's Deuce Geralds. I am still, in the second week of spring, not ready to assign Deuce Geralds a starting job, as I think you're all very comfortable understanding. But he is out there with the first unit. And make no mistake, this is the first unit. Daugherty led the SEC in tackles last year. DJ Pickett and P.J. Woodland are LSU starting cornerbacks. Lane Kiffin has talked ad nauseum in 2 press conferences about Ty Benefield and his prospects. Tamarcus Cooley started last year. These are your starters, and Deuce Geralds is running with them. Next to him today was Dominic McKinley. We have seen other players in that spot, but they were the 2 guys out there with the first unit today. So that's a look at LSU's defense, and I think that's interesting. It's noteworthy to an extent, but it is ever-changing. And so I thought that was all the most noteworthy nuggets of the 20 minutes we were allowed out there. We're back out there on Thursday. I will note this. Lane Kiffin met with the media today. I was not there. LSU loves to have press conferences at 12 o'clock when I can't go because I got to get back to do a show. Can't go to Will Wade's intro press conference. Can't go to any Lane Kiffin stuff. Can't do any of the player interviews. I'm here. But I did watch Lane Kiffin's press conference today, and Kiffin did say to open the press conference that he wants open lines of communication with the media as far as access to practice, and as he termed this the off season, he's calling spring the off season, we may get some more. And I've said this 50 times, I'll say it again, I don't believe Lane Kiffin owes us any access. I welcome anything that he gives us. And I think that you, the consumer, whether it's the written word on LouisianaSports.net or it's the video aspect on YouTube or terrestrial radio, I think it's good for you if we get access. And it sounds like he's open to a little bit more as we move forward. I think that would be a great thing. I don't expect that to continue in the fall, and you understand why. Lane Kiffin also today was asked about a spring game. Jacques Doucet from Channel 9 asked him, and he said, look, the spring games were getting televised. There was also a portal window right after spring games, so you could have coaches that theoretically could take that as valuation of players, and you're making a very sizable investment in a lot of these guys. You don't see the NFL doing a tackle scrimmage in April. And so we're not going to do a tackle scrimmage in April with as much invested in some of these guys as you had. And I don't hate that. The spring game has never been the end-all, be-all for me. I know a lot of people just like a fix of football at that time in the calendar, and I do understand that. You're looking at a guy that will absolutely go watch LSU baseball scrimmage in October, so I get that whole thing. But that's a dangerous thing to go do in football. So it doesn't sound like that's going to happen, but maybe a little bit more access for us, the media, to get you content as a listener and a viewer or a reader coming up in the coming weeks. So hopefully that is the case. That's a look at LSU spring football. All of our spring football coverage at LouisianaSports.net and, of course, at Hunt on LSU on YouTube. When we come back, let me get you ready for LSU and Southern. I've got some specific talking points on this game. there's one aspect of this that is like the actual game and what LSU needs to do to beat Southern at baseball. But there's also another aspect of the game tonight that I'm looking to see. So I'll get into all that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC. FabryChevrolet.com is the website. FabryChevrolet.com. You can start your buying process online at FabryChevrolet.com. You can see their entire inventory, new and pre-owned. You can see the incredible deals they have. You can see all the features on the vehicles that are on the lot. That's a great way to start your buying process at FabryChevrolet.com. But I highly suggest you get on up to St. Francisville and check them out on Highway 61. The Fabry family's been at this for 35 years. They pride themselves on their customer service and on the buying experience. I think most people have had an unpleasant experience purchasing a vehicle. It's just same as anything. You may feel like you're being taken advantage of or that you don't have all the information, that somebody's being a little bit pushy, and that's a natural thing to have felt over the years on a car lot. It's not going to happen at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. So go on by and see them. Make that short drive from Baton Rouge. See why they've been in business for 35 years. Why they've been a trusted name with the folks here in Baton Rouge. And see why they got great deals. Up to $11,000 off a Silverado, up to $13,000 off MSRP on GMC Sierras. Great deals on trucks at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Check them out at FabryChevrolet.com.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. If you're battling an insurance company because of a wreck not your fault and they're not calling you back or being fair, whether you hire us at all, give us a call, 272-5555, or email Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. You have nothing to lose.
Hello, I'm Collins Meredith. If you've been injured on the job, you'll likely have a workers' compensation claim, but you may also have a tort claim, which opens up significant recovery rights not normally available for a work injury. If this is you, call us or come see us at Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit LouisianaPropane.com.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
Supreme Jasmine is premium American-grown rice. From local farms to your table, every grain is supreme. Pick up a bag of Jasmine or any other of our Supreme American rice.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Ochsner here to remind you that it's Colon Cancer Awareness Month, at least for one more day. Colon cancer is very, very common cancer, but it is preventable and treatable when it is caught early. Screening can detect precancerous polyps before they turn into cancer. So if you're an adult, starting at age 45, it's time to start getting those screenings. If you got a family history of colon cancer, perhaps you need to start a little bit older. Even if you feel healthy, screening can still be very, very important. Colonoscopies are the gold standard. If you're at a low risk, there may be some other options for you, but talk with your provider. That is very, very important. They can help determine the best choice. So how do you do that? Well, you make an appointment at Ochsner Health primary care provider or with a GI specialist and start that conversation. Ask about your personal risk, and early detection can save lives. Schedule that appointment at ochsner.org/schedule. That's ochsner.org/schedule or through the My Ochsner app. All right, LSU and Southern tonight from the box. I'm not here to tell you how tough a game this is going to be for LSU against Southern. Could be. Southern beat LSU 2 years ago, hammered LSU 2 years ago. Southern beat McNeese last week. I think we're all aware of what McNeese did when they came to the box, gave LSU its first loss of the season, and kind of started this downward spiral a month and a half ago. But this is a game LSU should control. Southern is not very good. You're talking about a team that's 10-16 that has significant problems throwing strikes and has a bad RPI. Jay Johnson said 2 weeks ago when they played Grambling, this was a must-win game for us. And I told you what I thought he meant by that the next day. I don't know what he meant by that, but what I thought he meant by that was that I don't think we're going 19-11 in league play. I don't think we're going 21-9 in league play. I think we're going to be in the middle of this thing. And that means the margins are going to matter. And if you saddle yourself with a 300 RPI loss, McNeese, no, not Ole Miss, not McNeese. Southern is 270-something in the RPI. Now, that'll go up a little bit tonight because they'll play a team that's in the top 100. But you don't need to saddle yourself with a sixth non-conference loss to a team with an RPI of 271. So don't do that. So how do you make that happen? Well, if you're talking about the actual play on the field, Southern will be the most aggressive running team that LSU will have played all season. They have 75 steals this year, which is more than Kentucky, and that's on 95 attempts. Now, I realize that the teams Southern play don't have future pro prospects at catcher like LSU does with either Aaron Beatty or Cerna, but still, stealing 95 times and being successful 75 of them at this point in the calendar is a significant amount, and you've got to make sure that you're paying attention to that. So whether or not Aaron Beatty plays, and Jay Johnson said last night that he's had a little nick and that he may be available tonight, and that kind of lends me to believe that Aaron Beatty will probably play. that Cerna will probably play if Aaron Beatty is hurt a little bit. But Southern, if they get guys on base, is going to run. For LSU, I would pitch out a little bit. I would certainly lean on my left-handed pitching a little bit. I don't have to worry about Southern bashing the baseball all over the yard against Santiago Garcia or Omar Cerna or DJ Primo. Any of these guys, like you gotta favor some left-handers here that can throw some pickoff moves. I think at this point in the game, LSU throws 8 or 9 pitchers every midweek anyway. I would get some of these left-handers some innings against Southern to make sure that they're not running all over the place. That's the aspect of the X's and O's in this game. Like, I could tell you about Southern's pitching staff, how they're atrocious throwing strikes. You think LSU walks a lot of hitters? They do. They've walked 135 this year. Southern's walked 185. They've walked 50 more than LSU. LSU has hit 37 batters. Southern has hit 48. So they're giving out free bases ridiculously, and I think LSU needs to pay attention to that, take your walks, and get the win. What I'm looking for tonight may be asking a lot, and it may be irrelevant. I may be reaching. It's possible. But I saw something on Sunday that I think this team can use. I think this team can use a little juice. I don't need a 35-foot bat flip every single day, not on Tuesday against a SWAC team. I don't need Jay Johnson bowing up to the opponent's pitching coach and getting in a war of words 3 times during the game every day. But sometimes it might be the day to make that happen. And maybe Sunday was the day to make that happen. So today, on a Tuesday, against a SWAC team with a losing record in front of what's probably going to be 2,500 people, I would like it if LSU brought the energy. I would like it if LSU played with significantly more energy than Southern. I would like it if you hit a leadoff double and fired yourself up to the dugout. I would like it if a pitcher got a big strikeout and was fired up about it. I would like it if LSU played with more energy than Southern in the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh innings tonight. I would like that. That's not something I don't think I've ever said on this show about a midweek game, especially against a SWAC team that LSU should theoretically beat by 10 runs. But this feels different. This team has been in a month-long malaise. There's been so much negativity, so much poor play, so many frustrating defeats that sometimes you just need to maybe break out of it with some juice. And again, I don't need LSU to go to Knoxville on Friday and act like Tony Vitello's team for 3 games. That's not what I'm asking. But this is one of those games after you have a big emotional win on Sunday. You feel like you break through offensively. Dardar's hitting the baseball a little bit. You get some big swings. That you might come back on Tuesday without that juice. Because, well, we needed it against Kentucky. Now we're going on the road to Tennessee. It's a team that we played in Omaha over the years. It's a team that we had a big series with last year. Maybe you're already looking towards that, and that's something this team can't afford to do. You can't afford to just roll the bats out there today. This team's not good enough to do that. They'll walk too many guys. They'll kick it around on the infield. They'll make a throwing error. They'll hit too many guys. I need LSU to be laser-focused and full of energy tonight. And I'm going to pay attention to it. Again, I don't think I've ever done a segment like this involving a game like this one. But I just feel like it might be noteworthy tonight. So I don't know who gets the ball. Maybe it's Jaden Newt. Maybe it's Reagan Ricken again, even though he hasn't been great in his opportunity to start the games. I'm not as concerned about that. It's important for LSU to throw it over the plate. It's important for LSU to take some walks. It's important for LSU to hit the ball hard. And when you do it with some emotion. Do it with some juice. You don't have to taunt to play with emotion and energy. You don't have to get into a jawing match with the other team to play with emotion and energy. Channel it within yourself. I've seen too much midweek malaise from this team. I've seen too much malaise, period, with this team. I know a lot of people were questioning leadership and all that kind of stuff, and I think that's ambitious for players to do that if you're not in the locker room, if you're not in the meeting room, if you're not in the team huddles, if you're not with the team in batting practice. Like, whether or not you can determine if they have leaders or not, I think is ambitious. It's sometimes just an easy cliche people will toss in if a team's not playing very well. They don't have the leaders. Do you know that? But I can know whether or not they play with energy tonight. And you're playing a team that you're miles better than. Just take care of them. Just go beat them. Don't have to taunt them. Don't have to draw any umpire warnings or get anybody ejected. Just go play hard. And I'll be watching that for LSU tonight. LSU and Southern, 6:30 is the first pitch from the box. You want to listen to it, you can on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. That's the flagship home for LSU sports. It'll be Chris Blair on the call this evening. Again, pregame at 6 o'clock, first pitch at 6:30 from the box. When we come back, Glenn West talking Will Wade, talking spring football, a little bit of baseball as well. We'll hit it all with Glenn coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Gotro's Outdoor Power. Gotro's Outdoor Power, family owned and operated by the Gotro family, you might have guessed it, for 22 years. Baton Rouge location on Airline, and of course in Gonzales as well. When I say family owned and operated, you might think, well, that's a little mom and pop shop there. That's a little small shop there, a little small operation. Not even close. Largest parts inventory in the state of Louisiana. If you're looking for a part for that zero turn, that lawn equipment, you can get that from them. And they're the largest hustler dealer in the state by far. So if you're looking for a zero turn mower, as the spring months are officially upon us here, then go by and see them at Gotro's Outdoor Power. If you don't have a trailer, that's okay. They can get that lawnmower to you. They've got trucks on the road 8 hours a day, just about every single day. They've got on-site financing. 0% is available. They can get you behind the wheel of a new mower for about $100 a month. It's a great deal. It's a great family. It's a great operation at Gotros Outdoor Power. You can find them online at gotrosonline.com or go by and see them Airline Highway in Baton Rouge or in Gonzales. That's Gotros Outdoor Power.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. If you're battling an insurance company because of a wreck not your fault and they're not calling you back or being fair, whether you hire us at all, give us a call, 272-5555, or email Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. You have nothing to lose.
Hello, I'm Collins Meredith. If you've been injured on the job, you likely have a workers' compensation claim, but you may also have a tort claim which opens up significant recovery rights not normally available for a work injury. If this is you, call us or come see us at Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free, confidential help now.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient. And the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
Most roofers just replace your shingles. At Pelican, we diagnose your roof, digging deep down to find the root cause of your roof symptoms. Now cough for me? Good. We don't ignore your roof's issues, we address them. Let's just take care of this right here. Helping your roof to become the best version of itself. Interesting that you would say that. How does that make you feel? So call Pelican Roofing for your free roof checkup today.
Everything you need for a stunning garden is at the Plant Barn in Baton Rouge. From trees and shrubs to plants and pottery, the Plant Barn has it all at great prices. Visit us today on Valley Street, right off Perkins Road in South Downs.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
First American Bank and Trust. First American Bank and Trust. You can find them online at fabt.com. You don't have to look that hard to find them. You can find them anywhere in Southeast Louisiana. 25 locations throughout our area. Been running for 116 years, since 1910. Bank local with First American Bank and Trust. They've got that community feel that you're looking for. The folks that work in there and make the decisions on your commercial loans as well as your personal loans. They're local. They're from Southeast Louisiana. They go to church with you. Their kids are in school with yours. And that doesn't mean it's a small bank. It's not. It's 25 locations in our area. They've got the capabilities that the big national banks have when it comes to your commercial lending. So if you're looking for a commercial loan, looking for a personal loan for that house, First American Bank and Trust needs to be your stop. Stop on by and see them. Or check them out online at fabt.com. That's First American Bank and Trust. Let's talk Tigers. Glenn West, senior writer at Go 24/7. Good enough to give us time on Tuesdays. Does so now. Glenn, how are you?
Doing well, Hunt. I'm just bummed LSU's not really giving us a whole lot to talk about this time of year.
This is my favorite time of year. I say that every year. That sometimes they hire a new basketball coach, sometimes they hire a new football coach. Baseball team's always playing. There's just a lot of content, and it's easy to keep things fresh. So let's talk about basketball first. You were in the PMAC yesterday. What was your overall impression of that and of Will?
Yeah, it definitely felt like, I guess, kind of as you were in that building, a rallying cry for the program. I mean, obviously, this is somebody that is very highly energetic, has a lot of energy in terms of just how he wants to convey his message about, this thing getting back on track quickly. And look, I think we saw, a lot of really fun moments from Will Wade. He's always good for a good quote in there. I particularly like the one where he talked about them making history, whether it's hanging banners and championships or being the only coach to be fired from the same school twice. I thought that was a really fun little jab at himself that he really typically likes to do and has done, throughout his career. But I just, I think he's going to have the resources here to build something pretty special. I think, right from the start here in year one, he spoke about just how maybe this first year will be maybe a little bit more in terms of the commitment and the financial part of it, that they're going to have to, find a lot of new players here in a very short amount of time. And he talks about just, his SEC, like refamiliarizing himself with the SEC and how to find players with the toughness and the grit and the, competition that they really want to find, consistent success. I think positional versatility will be a very important thing for him, guys that can play multiple spots on the floor in the transfer portal coming up here. But I also thought there was some real genuine moments there. I thought the question that Scott Rabolet from The Advocate asked him at the very end there about, why, an element of this being, does he feel like he owes it back to LSU and Louisiana to in terms of coming back and feeling like he has something to give to this state and to this program. And he basically said, yes, absolutely. That was a part of a factor here. He's got great friends. He's got great benefactors here that are going to help him build what he needs to from a basketball sense. But, the fan base really rallied around him the last time he was here, and that's never really stopped, even since he's been gone. And I think that's an element to this that meant a lot to him and probably a piece of why we're sitting here today.
I was trying to think of coaches that had been fired that had the approval rating that Will did, even after he was left. I would imagine like Pat Fitzgerald at Northwestern would be in that category, but I can't think of many others that have been dismissed in that way and that have been kind of accepted the way that Will is. And I think you saw that in the press conference yesterday. And what does your gut tell you about the next 5 years of LSU basketball?
5 years? I don't know. I think he wants to take this 1 year at a time. I think for me, I'm kind of in that same boat. I'm interested to see what kind of players that they bring in over these next several weeks. I think, the commitment that they have from a basketball sense is going to make that very, very fun to kind of follow here over the next month. But, look, I think that he's won everywhere that he's been, right? I mean, he made the tournament 4 out of 5 years, or I guess would have been 4 out of 5 years. He was here at LSU. He very quickly built McNeese back into a program that is a consistent NCAA tournament, winner or appearer in that conference. And then, he did the same thing at NC State, getting them into the field of 68 last year. So I expect that, the expectations are that he can build a roster that can compete in the SEC and try to make a run here very, very quickly. So, I think it's going to be interesting to see the other piece to that is just the retention element is in terms of how many guys that they can bring in this year that might want to stay beyond just this year. I think that's going to have to eventually be a part of this program. But right now it's just about getting guys in here that can compete and play in this conference and do it in a very fun, stylistic way that Will Wade has always seemed to turn out here at LSU.
Let's talk football. You were out there on the practice field today. We don't get a ton, but you've now gotten upwards of an hour at this point. Is there anything that has specifically stuck out to you about the football team through a week and a half?
Yeah, I think for me, probably just, getting a good look at this offense and just some of the structure, how they've kind of structured this offense here to start. I mean, I think Landon Clark's been a very impressive player so far. He's been getting a lot of the first team reps, quote unquote, that we've been out there for. I think he's, we only get to see these guys throw against air when they're out there, but I think he's somebody that's, got some good velocity on his football and is hitting some guys in route and with their timing and their rhythm. And so I think he's been very impressive. I actually had a question today to Lane Kiffin about the running back room because, we know Harlan Berry, we know Caden Durham. We don't know much about the 4 guys that they brought in from the portal outside of those 2 guys. And they've been very impressed with how those guys have kind of developed. I think Dylan Jones is somebody that you're going to have to keep an eye on. He's kind of more of your ground and pound bruiser kind of a running back, very physical. But I also think that they feel like there's going to be a lot of competition in that room here going forward. So, I think offensively we have a pretty good idea. It was good to see Stephon Green make an appearance today. He had been out the first week of practice with some kind of injury. I think he's kind of working his way back now. But those are just a couple things. I think there's still a lot that we can learn here over the next 3 weeks. But and hopefully we might get a full practice here. I mean, Lane Kiffin today came out right from the start and said, he wants to get our feedback on how much practice access we should have or could have, and he mentioned something about some media not really wanting all that much access, and I think all of us at the very end of it were like, no, bring it on, bring on as much access as we can possibly handle. So maybe we can get with Michael Bonnet and those guys and give us a little bit more substance here beyond individual drills.
That would be good. We'll see if that happens. Let's transition over to baseball. Down 7-0 on Sunday. They found a way to come back and get it done. How big a deal was that?
I think it was a big deal. And just as a side here, I don't know that I've ever seen Jay Johnson as frustrated or as irate than those first 2.5 innings on Sunday. I mean, he was going through all the emotions early in that game. His team did not come ready to play. He said as much in the postgame presser. But at one point, I believe there was a stool that was picked up. I don't know what happened to the stool, but where we're kind of angled, we can't really see the deepest part of the dugout. But he was yelling a lot of different stuff at pitchers, trying to get them pumped up and trying to get them through some rough spots there. So he went through all the kinds of emotions there. And by the 4th or 5th or 6th inning, it was mostly diverted towards Kentucky, and everybody's seen that viral clip going around from his Sunday back and forth there. But I think this can be a real turning point for this team. I mean, we've seen them get down like this before, not really punch back, not really have enough in the tank to get themselves back into this game. And 2.5 innings in, you're down 7-0, and then you go on to outscore Kentucky 17-3 from there. I mean, it was a really well executed final 6 innings, and it started with obviously John Pearson's grand slam. Seth Dardar had a nice 3-run homer in there that gave him the lead and then never looked back. So I think offensively you have some stuff that you can build on from the way that Sunday game ended, but it's just about an element of consistency, because we've seen the very bad of this team, but we've also seen the very good, and we really saw it in that 9-inning stretch there against Kentucky on Sunday.
It's hard now to go back this far because it feels like it was 3 months ago, but Kason Evans got off to a bad start against Kentucky. He walked a guy on 4 pitches. He hit the next guy on 2, and he just struggled with his command for the first 3 innings of that game. He got it through 6, but he struggled. To me, he's the most important piece of this thing moving forward, considering the consistency that William Schmidt is pitching with. He's giving you about the same thing every week. Is there someone else that you think is as important as Evans, or am I on the right track there that he's got to be the biggest part of leading this team out of this?
I don't think you're on the wrong track there. I would probably throw in Zach Cowan's name, though, too. I think his role is going to be critical, especially here in the short term when you don't have Cooper Moore. I know they're expecting him to come back at some point this season, but the way that Cowan's pitching right now, he can win you games at the end of a game. Like if LSU was in a tight game this weekend on Friday or Saturday, I think you're going to see Cowan pitch the rest of the way, whether that's the final 3 innings, the final 4 innings, whatever it is. There is an immense level of trust right now in him and what he's been able to do for LSU the last 3 or 4 times he's been on the mound. So I would say that's a very integral piece as well. But yeah, for sure. I mean, Kason, we've seen now for 2 weeks the absolute best of Kason Evans and probably the absolute worst of Kason Evans. And so can he find that middle ground? Can he find that consistency to be more of the guy that we saw, a week ago? I'm already blanking on who that was against. Oklahoma, I think. Yeah. And can he get more to that consistent level? And I think it's in there. Like we've seen it. We've seen it last year. We've seen it at times this year. I know that he's very hard on himself, and he's a guy that's always working and always grinding. And so I'll be very interested to see what his bounce-back performance looks like this weekend. And he's going to have to give you something. He's going to have to give you something this weekend to have a chance at, not only winning a game, but winning the series.
Glenn, we appreciate the time.
Yeah, thanks, Don.
Glenn West, senior writer over at Go 24/7. ESPN.com says there is one player whose perfect fit is the Saints, and it's not a guy that I've talked about. We'll do that next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Looking for that Generac home standby generator? Time to talk to the folks at Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Neil and Melissa have been running it for 40 years, and the difference in buying from Boudreaux's and buying from the big box store is very, very simple. It's the customer service. You buy from Boudreaux's Electrical, you're buying from a local company that's been here for 40 years. There's going to be a local crew installing it. It will be monitored locally. If you need a repair, that'll come from a local company. In Boudreaux's Electrical. That's what you need, because these generators, you never know when you're going to need them, but they need to work when it's time. So you don't want those big box stores who have no idea who you are or when you bought it in charge of coming in for maintenance. If you buy from Boudreaux's Electrical, that's who's going to be doing your maintenance. But if you've already purchased a Generac home standby generator from the big box store and you're not happy with the customer service, you can get the Boudreaux's Boost and let them take over that part of it. 985-397-1562 is the number. That's 985-397-1562, or in the 225-300-9389 in Gonzales, or you can do the easy way and go to boudreauxelectrical.com. boudreauxelectrical.com.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith with Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan & Associates. We take great pride in educating our clients about their rights. Whether you're injured at work or while you drive, call our office at 272-5555. Knowledge is power, and you should know your rights after an injury.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan of Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan & Associates. When insurance companies have been unfair, we've never been afraid to go to trial. Fighting hard to protect your rights, we never settle a case out of convenience. We only settle when it's right for you. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call.
Transform your living space with Lacoste & Young Remodeling and take your home from outdated to outstanding. Redefine your kitchen for the ultimate culinary experience, or elevate your daily routine with a spa-worthy bathroom retreat. Our skilled team brings 3D modeling to life to ensure your vision becomes a reality. We believe luxury should be accessible and offer tailored solutions to fit your budget without compromising quality. So contact us today for a free estimate. Lacoste & Young Remodeling, providing perfect solutions for your dream home.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
Who bears the standard? Who sets the bar? It's not those satisfied by low-hanging fruit or by taking it easy. No, the standard is set by the best of us, by those who work hard. Dig deeper. Give more. At Sunshine, we're proud to provide John Deere products that work hard for you, the standard bearers. Find the dealer nearest you at sunequip.com.
Investing in a new roof doesn't have to be overwhelming. At Pelican Roofing, we offer 0 interest for 21 months because everyone deserves a safe, secure home. Trusted, local, affordable. Pelican Roofing, making quality roofing affordable for South Louisiana families.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Tuesday shows are brought to you by Immense. You can find them out at immense.net, immense.net. They've been around for 20 years. right here in Baton Rouge, they can help you out anywhere from Lake Charles to the North Shore and Slidell. If you're a business that's between 50 and 150 people and you feel like your IT group is always overwhelmed, just let Immense help. Like, yes, they can help you with bugs and fixes that your general IP folks can deal with, but they also have experts in QuickBooks and Salesforce and other CRMs, and they're here to help you create solutions with technology to help further your business. So don't think of Immense as just, oh, my computer's broken, they'll fix it. Think of it as a group that is more than happy to come in and help your business grow with information technology. That's the difference when you work with Immense. You're talking about folks that are here from Baton Rouge, LSU grads that are here to help you with your information technology as a business. They're online at immense.net. It's immense.net. I wanted to get into Saints talk here, but I don't have enough time, so I'm going to bump that into hour number 2 because there's a mock draft and there's a best fit for players, and they feel like one is revolving around the Saints, and they're both at the same position, and it's not wide receiver. It's not offensive line. It's not in the secondary. It's not a running back. It's another spot, and I want to get into that a little bit in hour number 2, so we will do that. I'll spend a little bit of time here on the Will Wade press conference from yesterday and kind of the fallout from that, and we'll get into the LSU athletics plan in hour number 2, which I find to be very, very interesting. But yesterday, watching Will Wade, it just felt very genuine. And that's something that I don't think anyone outside of Baton Rouge or LSU would say about Will Wade. And if you check Twitter and you check Facebook and you look at the national feeling towards Will Wade and LSU, it's very predictable. He's the black sheep. He wears the black hat. But here in Baton Rouge, he doesn't. And I'm not here to put a lot of credence behind NC State fans' feelings. They're not going to look at this reasonably and rationally. The guy came to NC State, sold him a bill of goods in their eyes, and then left after a year for a place that they deemed to be beneath them. And so they're not going to handle that well. You're not going to hear an NC State fan say, oh, well, he probably liked it there. We'll be okay. Bummer. They're just not going to be capable of having that type of reaction. So I'm not even talking about the NC State part of this. But you see Dan Wolken jumping on and finding a clip from Will Wade's press conference and suggesting that he says, oh, come on, bro, when he talks about the exit. And my thought is this, and I realize that people that would watch this and listen to this outside of Baton Rouge would think the same about me as I do about those people at NC State and just say, well, they're reacting because their blood runs NC State Wolfpack red and they can't be rational. And they would look at me and say, well, his blood runs purple and gold and he can't be rational. I think I can. And I can suggest that Will Wade would rather coach at LSU than NC State. He's done it at LSU. He's done it at NC State. He would rather coach at LSU than NC State. And that became apparent to him near the end of that season, which is not uncommon to Will Wade. It happened with Lane Kiffin. It happened with John Sumrall. It's happened to many, many coaches across the sports in this calendar. You make a decision that you want to listen. And I think Will Wade did his job at North Carolina State. I think he wanted to win games at the end. They didn't win a lot of games. I think he wanted to win games. He could have left for LSU whether they beat Texas or didn't. I don't think he's throwing games or not working. But I think he decided he wanted to listen to LSU. And for those that said, well, just be truthful, just be transparent. In the middle of an NCAA tournament run, you think he's going to go knock on Boo Corrigan, the athletic director's door, and go, hey, man, we got a game against Texas. We're going to fly to Dayton here. But LSU's been calling my representation. I just want to let you know that. That's not how this works. Whether you're in accounting, sales, no matter where you work, if someone approaches you, hey, I'd like to speak with you about an opportunity, you just listen off to the side. You don't set off bells and whistles and sirens at your current place of work. And then when the time comes to make the decision, you make it. And oftentimes, that's going to make your now former employer upset, but that's just part of business. I criticized Lane Kiffin for his exit from Oxford if he did in fact tell the administration at Ole Miss, you let me coach in the playoff or I'm taking your entire staff. Like, that's not how I would want to leave a place. I would not do that. And I criticized Lane Kiffin for that. I don't think Will Wade did anything of the sort. I think Will Wade coached at NC State for a year, tried the best he could, did okay, and then once the season ended, got a phone call from a place that he'd rather be at and left. I just don't think it's that hard. I don't think the fact that he was paying players 7 years ago impacts this decision-making. It's just my thought on it. I just wish people would be a little bit more rational at times, but it's not what the internet's for, I guess. We'll come back after SportsCenter.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge, swingeasygcbr.com, swingeasygcbr.com. Membership options are available at Swing Easy. If you're going, membership, what you haven't talked about that a lot. Talked about it some, and it's a great opportunity for you. If you want to be a member so you can have a spot, you get hours at the beginning of the month, complimentary with your membership. You can also become a corporate member, and you can share that between your staff. You can entertain clients there. It's a great place to go hang out after work. It's a low-stress environment to hang out. It doesn't involve a 5-hour round of golf, maybe just an hour hitting some golf shots with a client. They've got cold drinks there. You can listen to some tunes, play some Pebble Beach. If you haven't looked into a membership, go to swingeasygcbr.com and look through the options there. If you're not interested in being a member, that's okay too. You can go on by and hit some balls, play Pebble Beach without being a member. Swing Easy Golf Club, Segan at Perkins, swingeasygcbr.com.
Another roof gone too soon.
Looks like neglect. There's no doubt about it. This is a case of poor installation.
At Pelican Roofing, we don't guess. We investigate to find the real cause of your roof's problems. Call Pelican Roofing for your free roof investigation today.
Case closed.
The Cane's Box Combo, a symphony of flavors. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
Lock Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates has won for our clients over $175 million over the decades, but our greatest success is our clients who have chosen and trusted us to help them. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call. You've got nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan. If you get injured, you could be staring at medical bills, repair costs, and lost income. Life can be turned upside down. At Lock Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we'll work to turn your world right side up. Hire us, and like thousands of our clients, you'll be glad you did.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized, it'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. As speculation continues to swirl that the Eagles could trade receiver A.J. Brown with New England a top suitor, Patriots coach Mike Vrabel did not rule out that possibility today at the NFL annual meeting. Told reporters they'll do anything they can to strengthen the roster. Philadelphia is incentivized financially to wait until after June 1st to trade Brown, as the dead cap hit would be reduced by more than half. Geno Smith, coming off his worst statistical season since 2014, widely perceived as a bridge quarterback for the Jets until they identified their long-term solution at the position. He's seen differently, though, by his coach, Aaron Glenn.
He's proven a lot in this league of what he's done, especially when you take those times when he was in Seattle. Listen, he fits exactly what we're trying to do. So obviously we've created an identity. The foundation of our offense is pretty good now. Like, I just feel like he's the guy that's going to lead us to the promised land. He's the guy that's going to touch the ball more than anybody else on offense.
Former NBA star Amari Stoudemire and former WNBA MVP and champions Candace Parker and Elena Delle Donne headline the Basketball Hall of Fame's class of 2026. They'll be enshrined in August.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman, and coming up Wednesday, we'll continue to get you set for the Final Four. Will my Illini be able to move on to the national championship game? We'll discuss it on Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Raising Cane's studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Immense. Sharif Ishak talking Saints in 30 minutes. 15 minutes from right now, I will tell you the change that I was made aware of yesterday within the LSU athletic department that they're going to push forward with, and it helps answer a question that I posed last week on this show. So we'll talk about that coming up in 15 minutes. ESPN.com had a couple of NFL draft stories up on their homepage today for the NFL side of things. And they married together quite nicely for the New Orleans Saints. And I wanted to discuss them here, first individually and then bringing them together, as I think it's apt to do. The first was a piece that took the top 20 prospects in the upcoming NFL draft and named the best fit for those players at teams. And I didn't have to scroll very long to get to the player they identified that would be the best fit with the New Orleans Saints in the draft. It's a player that we're all very, very familiar with, but I've not spent a lot of time talking about him. It's Ruben Bain from Miami. 6'2", which is a little undersized for that edge rushing position, 263 pounds. So in terms of measurables, not off the charts, especially with length, but in terms of production, in terms of the tape, unbelievable. I have not seen a defensive player impact consecutive games like Bain did in that college football playoff run probably since Tyrann Mathieu. And Ndamukong Suh comes to mind as well. At the biggest moment in College Station, in Dallas against Ohio State, in the Ole Miss game, Bain was a menace against some big boy programs. And he's going to be paid handsomely for it. The question is, will that be by the Saints? And the other piece that I was looking at that will tie in here is the new mock draft that was put out by Matt Miller. And he's got the Saints at 8, selecting David Bailey, another edge from Texas Tech. The blurb for Bailey, if you're less familiar with him, is if you want an impact playmaker off the edge, look no further than Bailey. 23 tackles for loss, 14 and a half sacks this year. Another monster productivity season at the college level. And both of them believe that this is the best fit for New Orleans. And it's interesting because I know that if you draft Jordan Tyson or you draft Carnell Tate, I know where they plug in immediately at wide receiver. If you were to draft Jeremiah Love previous to the signing of Achane, like, I know where he slots in. It was obvious what was going to happen with Taliesin Fuaga. It was obvious what was going to happen the following year with Kelvin Banks. We knew where those guys were headed. If you take one of these defensive ends, I look at the Saints front and I go, well, yeah, Cam Jordan's still up in flux, but Carl Granderson is still under contract and Chase Young is still under contract, and those guys are pretty good. So it's not an immediate need for the first snap of the first game. Like when you took Taliesin Fuaga 2 years ago, for the first snap of the first game, he was in need. When you took Kelvin Banks, for the first snap of the first game, he was in need. And if you took one of those wide receivers and you look at the receivers that you've got, for the first snap of the first game, that's a need. For the first snap of the first game, I don't know if David Bailey or Reuben Bain is a plug and play as a starter. But you look at this and you realize that Granderson signed a 4-year deal, and you're looking at 2 more years left on that deal. Chase Young signed a 3-year deal last year and has 2 more years left on that deal. And you look at age, and you're looking at Granderson at 30. Chase Young is going to be 27 this year. And I start to think about it, and I go, okay, this makes sense. You need rotational defensive ends. If you find a hot hand, ride it. If you have an injury, you need depth. And Cam Jordan played behind those 2 guys last year and had 10 sacks. Now, I don't know if Cam's going to be back or not. And I don't know if Cam Jordan's decision impacts the Saints' pick here. I'll tell you what I feel about that. It should not. I don't need to base my first-round draft choice, a player that I need to hit on in what I hope will be my last time picking in the top 10 in the draft for a few years. I got to hit on that guy as a starter, as a potential Pro Bowl player, as a potential All-Pro player. And I'm not changing my mind on that pick based on whether or not a 37, 38-year-old comes back for another year to be a rotational defensive end. That should not enter the equation. In that way, you are looking at the long term, not the short term. It's a first-round pick. You got him under contract for 4+ years. Like, I'm not basing my pick on what Cam Jordan decides to do. Now, that player's role, Bailey or Bain's role on the 2026 team, may be tweaked a bit depending on what Cam Jordan's role is. But that's what I'll adjust to that when that time comes. I think this is fine. I'm having a hard time finding spots that I think the Saints need to avoid with this 8th pick because I believe there are so many players at so many positions the Saints need to upgrade on. So yeah, like best case scenario, you take one of these 2 guys and Chase Young and Carl Granderson play at an elite level and their role is a little bit diminished in year 1 and maybe they emerge in year 2. But by the time year 3 rolls around and that player's still on a rookie contract, who knows if Chase Young and or Carl Granderson are around. And that's just when Tyler Shuck is hitting his complete stride. And I am going to base some of my thinking around that. So yeah, it's not a first snap of the first game thing like maybe the wide receivers would be. Like maybe it would be if you took Caleb Downs. Like it would have been potentially if you took Jeremiah Love and hadn't gone and gotten HN. Like, yeah, maybe. And maybe not in this instance. But that doesn't scare me off the pick. And I do believe those 2 guys are fits. I'm not here to tell you which of those 2 guys is better. I'm not here to tell you which of those 2 guys fits better in a Brandon Staley scheme. I'm here to assess a plan, not a player. The plan in taking one of these guys, if you determine this front office, which hit on draft picks last year, determines that this is the position and these are the 2 guys and this guy's ranked ahead of this guy. They're both on the board. I want that guy. I'm good with Bain, and I'm good if you want to shop in Lubbock too. You can't go wrong with the production that Bain and Bailey had, and you trust your evaluation guys to get it right, assuming they're both there. It's not as fun as a wide receiver, but it's pretty fun because you have to get to the passer. And I think that Carl Granderson and Chase Young will play good football this year. I think if they bring back Cam Jordan, he will be a net positive for New Orleans, assuming the deal is 1 year and a reasonable expense. And I have no reason to believe it won't be based on the lack of a market there appears to be for him. I'm not scared of taking Bailey or Bain. It's not an and there. Taking Bailey or Bain just because I've got Chase Young, Carl Granderson, and then Cam Jordan on line one. Because there's a longer play here, and you need depth at that position. There's a thought in one of these blurbs that perhaps you could bump someone inside and play all three of those guys in pass rush situations. If Brandon Staley wants to do that, great. Brian Brzee is also an impact pass rusher from the interior. You could create a pretty fierce pass rush with that group of players, and that's obviously a crucial piece to closing out games and winning them. I like David Bailey. I like Ruben Bain. I have not, as I said, I have not seen a college football player on the defensive side do the things that Bain has done in some time. It was impressive. And if that's the guy they want to take, I'm good with it. We'll see. But it's interesting to me that two different guys, same website, but two different angles, one's a straight mock, one is best fit for the players, landed on the same position with the Saints, and it wasn't one of the two that I've talked about more. What do you think, Jordan?
I think, listen, what helps a defense the most, especially I think we can all agree that the Saints' weakness on defense is the secondary at this point, out of the linebackers and the edge and the D-line. I think we can say Kool-Aid and the boys out there are not the strongest suit of this defense. So what else helps a secondary that doesn't cover the best? A great pass rush. So if the Saints want to lean into that, help them out, ease that pressure off, because I still think you need to bring some more bodies into that room. Ease that pressure off. You go with the pass rusher if he falls to you. I just think that you are playing with house money, and the draft is so far away that we can sit here and talk about any player at this point at the 8th spot and be like, yeah, I can see a world where this guy is a hole that fixes this, because the Saints, they are in a luxury position, and like you said, this should be the last time you're picking in the top 10 for some time, so it needs to be a hit.
I'm looking at guys they could take that I would go, I'm not real sure about that.
Offensive line.
Offensive line is probably it. That like Fano from Utah.
Yeah, please no.
There's a pick right behind them, Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end from Oregon, who's a physical freak.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the spot I would go.
Kyle Pitts, no sir.
Yeah. So I think edge rusher makes a lot of sense. We'll see if that's where the Saints decide to go. Tomorrow, I'll be able to say at the end of this month. for right now, next month. We'll have to see how that goes. When we come back, what's LSU planning to do differently, and does it alleviate some of my sincere concerns with the athletic department moving forward? I'll tell you about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. And closet space is just not something I considered very much. Purchased a home in a place that I loved. And then my wife-to-be, girlfriend at the time, moved in, and she looked at the closets and went, this is just not going to get it. I never thought about it. We could have called One Bath and Closets and get that done, but we knew that kids were coming, we were going to move, and so we waited and prioritized closet space in our move. You don't have to move to get new closets. David Duvall and his team can do it. They are a licensed contractor. They can come in and create a new closet for you, customized to your specifications. Maybe that's what you want to do. Maybe you have closet space, but you just don't feel you're using it properly. That's something David can identify as well. He'll start you with a questionnaire, kind of see what it is you're looking for, what you have, and he'll just get that clutter out of your life. It could be a game changer for you in your home. It could also add some value to that home. Let David come in and show you what he can do. You can start at the website, onebathandclosets.com, and see the customized closets that he has done and just how good they look. And if you're looking for financing options, they've got them 0% up to 18 months as well. Trust David to do this. He'll do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. It's One Bath and Closets. You can find them online at onebathandclosets.com.
If your office is experiencing performance issues Like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files? Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
Who bears the standard? Who sets the bar? It's not those satisfied by low-hanging fruit or by taking it easy. Now the standard is set by the best of us, by those who work hard. Dig deeper. Give more. At Sunshine, we're proud to provide John Deere products that work hard for you, the standard bearers. Find the dealer nearest you at sunequip.com.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. We are honored and humbled to receive from our clients in Google, based on 5-star client reviews, the designation of our law firm is highly recommended. Whether you hire us at all, please give us a call, 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. Injuries happen when you least expect them to, making your life more complicated. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we know this and we strive to help each of our clients during these times. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
I invite you every day to go take a tour over at Marucci. Such a cool story here in Baton Rouge. It's a worldwide company at this point, but its roots are here in Baton Rouge. And in Baton Rouge, they make 1,200 bats a day. If you want to go see where they make those bats, where they finish those bats, go take a tour at Marucci. If you want to hear the story of how they went from a backyard shed to the official bat of Major League Baseball in 2 decades, go take a tour. You get a ticket at maruccisports.com/campus-tour. Every ticket for the tour comes with a 20% discount in the Campus Tour store and in the Hitter's House. It's a great place to go take some swings if you got a youth baseball or softball player in your house, but it's a cool place to go learn, too, about a true gem that we have here in Baton Rouge. The official bat of Major League Baseball. I'm watching the Cubs nightly at this point. Turn them on again this evening. Marucci bats right on the screen. What a cool thing to have here in Baton Rouge. Go take a tour. Check them out online at maruccisports.com/campus-tour. That is our friends at Marucci. Okay. If you listen daily or you saw this cut up on social media from me last week, I have questions. I would not say concerns. I would say sincere questions about the functionality of an athletic department when it comes to the dollars and cents these days. You've got just north of $20 million to divide amongst your athletic programs in revenue sharing. That does not count name, image, and likeness deals. It's revenue sharing that the university shares with its athletes. And you can cut that pie up any way you want. We know that football is going to take a monster piece of that. And we know that Will Wade is going to expect the proper resources to run an SEC basketball program near the top of the conference. Whether or not he wins at that level remains to be seen. He will expect the resources that give him the ability to do that. We know the same goes for Kim Mulkey. LSU will invest in women's basketball. She demands it. And we know that Jay Johnson is at the top of the sport in college baseball, and that program needs money. So you've got these four big personalities in Lane Kiffin, Will Wade, Kim Mulkey, Jay Johnson. They've been successful coaches here or elsewhere. And the revenue sharing piece to this is finite. So you have to determine how you're going to cut up the revenue sharing. The NIL is not finite. The revenue sharing is. You have to cut the pie a certain way. There is a mandated limit on how many funds you can share in revenue with the student athletes. And the schools have to decide how to make that work. And so the almost certainty is that you cannot cut that pie and make all four of those happy. Like, I can't imagine that being a situation because everybody's always going to think they need a little bit more. So you've got a situation where maybe somebody's happy, maybe two people are okay, maybe one person's a little cranky, depending on the year, depending on how you slice things up, depending on how recruiting's going. Like, that's true in almost any circumstance. But this one's easy to see. So now you have to go out and get additional funds to make everybody happy. You can't make everybody happy just with rev share. But if you go out and you raise money and you work with LSU and you work with Nike and you work with all the corporate partners that LSU has and you make things work financially, then everybody can be happy. Well, how are you going to do that? That was my question last week. How are you, LSU, going to? Because I look around the league and I look at Alabama, who doesn't give a rip about baseball and doesn't give a rip about women's basketball. Okay? I look at Arkansas, who is not any good at football, but they're bankrolling baseball and basketball on the men's side. I look at Mississippi State, which has drastically reduced the football investment and pumped it into baseball. Like, you can see how athletic departments are moving things around like that, right? And so I look at that and I go, well, what's LSU going to do? That's my question. And yesterday, you got something of an answer from Verge Osbury. And in fact, because he was there asking the questions, Michael Cauble said it on this show. And then I didn't know where he was getting that from, but now it's obvious that Verge Osbury said it because I went back and listened to the press conference, which I wasn't able to go to because of the show. And now I understand that LSU is making a shift in the way it handles its athletic programs when it comes to resources and finances. We know that Heath Schroyer has been brought in to help run basketball. He's a former basketball coach. He's a former athletic director at a place that demands that you go out and raise funds to have any sort of success whatsoever. If you just let McNeese run on its own, they don't have any resources. You got to go get people involved, get people interested, go raise money. And Heath Schroyer and Will Wade did that. So now they're in charge of doing that for men's basketball. Heath Schroyer, Will Wade, go get it done. Clay Harris is going to be in charge of that for football. Now, football drives the bus, and Verge Osbury will be right there helping. But Clay Harris and Verge Osbury for football, they're in charge of getting the money from the people. And Zach Greenwell is going to help baseball and women's basketball, according to Verge Osbury. He's in charge of going to run the money. Verge Osbury said yesterday, LSU athletics is a charity. We have to go, and the term he used was beat the streets. We got to go get money. And here's what I feel. Will Wade has got no problem shaking hands, kissing babies, finding cash. He has done it at multiple places. He knows what he's doing, and he's very comfortable working with Heath Schroyer doing that. Okay, check. Football is a big deal. Clay Harris is a big deal. Verge Ausberry has football in his DNA. Verge Ausberry said yesterday, football is 98% of the budget around here. That's a non-negotiable. We got to win. We got to raise money. Clay Harris, Verge Ausberry, go. And Jay Johnson is very comfortable beating the streets and finding cash. And Kim Mulkey is very comfortable beating the streets and finding cash. And Zach Greenwell is going to help them do that. Because there comes a point in time where Kim Mulkey's got to go get players, got to coach players, got to develop players, got to game plan, got to scout, got to coach games. Jay Johnson's got to go recruit players. He's got to handle the transfer portal. He's got to develop hitters. He's got to hire a pitching coach. He's got to go scout and win games. So while they're doing that, you need somebody in charge of handling money. And if you just put one person in charge, hey, go run the collective. Well, that's a lot. And that's another situation where you're going to have 50 different coaches pulling it in 50 different directions, and one person, that's not going to work. Well, if you create different silos here, and you create different people that have that interest at heart, and you let Verge kind of run the top of it, okay, that is a plan. The execution of it, we'll have to see. That is a plan. Essentially, I've been in sales 2 different times, insurance and radio, and I think a lot of people have been in sales at one point or another. And you got a bunch of salespeople, and that's what I think Schroyer and Greenwell and Harris basically are. And you've got a sales manager, which is Verge. And it's very common for sales managers to go out on calls and to, cultivate relationships and help make the cash register ring. And that's Verge's role in this as well. He will be focused more on football. But now you've got a different person in charge of fundraising for the major sports on campus. And I'm not here to disrespect tennis or disrespect golf or disrespect track, but these are the revenue drivers. These are the brand creators. Verge said this yesterday. Yeah, women's basketball loses money here. But what that program does for our brand is important. For enrollment, for revenues, it's important. We will fund it. And so these are the chief sports that have to be funded. And I still have questions about the viability of being really good at everything. But I'll tell you this, as I said last week on this show, Verge Ausberry came on this radio station, told Matt Moscona it's really expensive to be good at everything. And yesterday, in his press conference, he said, we want to be good at everything. So there has been a shift in how this thing is going to run. That doesn't give me an insight as to how much money is available to everybody and whether or not Schroyer and Greenwell and Harris are going to the same people for the same ask and the people have to decide. Like, that part is inside baseball and nobody's coming to me for money. So I don't know exactly how that works. But I'm comforted in knowing that there is a plan afoot and that they're not planning on neglecting anything. Because I look around the league, there are plenty of programs being neglected. There are programs being neglected. Jimmy said this, I would have never known it. Bama's women's basketball coach left for South Florida. That's an indication. Bama said, we're funding football. We are funding men's basketball big time. Their baseball team's playing better now, but we don't have, that's 3. We don't have room for the 4th. Mississippi State has basically said, we can win at baseball. We're going to create a machine. And they spent a bajillion on this baseball team. Way more than LSU. Way more. And so you got to kind of make a call. And there are very few that have got them all cooking. Like Tennessee's doing okay. They're not at the top of anything. And women's basketball's taking a big fall. And their baseball doesn't look nearly as good without Vitello. And basketball can't quite get over the hump. And football's still good. Florida got to the top of the mountain in basketball. And their baseball teams had some recent success. But football's been dragging. It's hard to find. I mean, Texas A&M's women's basketball team's atrocious. It's hard to find the team that's got it all cooking. Texas has a lot of money, and they're cooking pretty well. Their football team's been good. Their baseball team is excellent. Their men's basketball team, year 1 under a new coach, and women's basketball is very good. Like, Texas has a lot of cash, and they've done a pretty good job of it. We'll see if LSU can do it. But it was good yesterday for me personally to hear that there's a shift and a plan in how we're going to do this. The execution of that, that's up to them to get it done. And I do know that you've got 4 coaches that are willing to put in the work. And as I said, when LSU was looking for Lane Kiffin or looking for a football coach, looking for a basketball coach. If you come to LSU and you put in a lot of work, the results across campus suggest you can get it done. If those four can get it done at the same time, that'd be a massive feather in the cap of Virgil Osbury and this entire athletic department. We'll see how it goes. All right, we'll come back, talk some Saints with Sharif Ishak next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com. That's FabryChevrolet.com. It's a short drive to St. Francisville from Baton Rouge. My wife and I were up there 3 weeks ago for our anniversary. Had an awesome weekend up there. It's just a hop, skip, and a jump. It's even closer if you're north of town in Zachary or Baker, Scotlandville, or if you're over in Point Capee, New Rose area by False River. Of course, you're in the Felicianas. You know where to head. Highway 61 in St. Francisville. Go see the Fabrys. They've been in this town for 35 years. And the only reason you can make it 35 years is if you know what you're doing, you treat people the right way. And that's what the Fabry family has been doing for 3 decades. You can be next. A wonderful buying experience, great service after the sale as well. And you'll be thrilled with the deals. Up to $11,000 off a Silverado, up to $13,000 off a GMC Sierra, 0.0 APR financing. Maybe you're looking for an SUV for that family road trip coming up this summer. Yukon, Denali, Tahoe, Suburban. They got them on Highway 61 in St. Francisville at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. You can find them online at FabryChevrolet.com.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
I'm lawyer Collins Locke Meredith. Among the most important factors to consider when you're hiring an injury attorney is trust. You trust your attorney will put your interest first, treat you with respect, fairness, and honesty. You trust them to be there for you when you need them. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, thousands of clients have trusted us to represent them, and for good reasons. Please visit us at LockeMeredith.com to learn more, and whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Today's shows every week brought to you by Immense. Find them at immense.net, immense.net. Sharif Ishak, WDSU down in New Orleans. Good enough to give us some time here on Tuesday. Sharif, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing quite well. How do we feel about the Saints wide receivers if they don't draft one in the first round?
If they don't, let me clarify this. If they don't draft one in the first or second round, it's not going to look good. It's not going to look good, I don't think. I think they need to find a way to make that happen in the first or second round.
What are they short on talent? Are they short on depth? Are they short on talent and depth? Why do you say that?
I think they're short on, I think, talented depth. We can combine the words. They have Devon, they have Chris, then they have Jalen Polk, they have Mason Tipton, but I just don't see those guys after Chris and Devon being, difference makers. They got to find another difference maker in that receivers room, and I think that whether it's Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson, Malachi Lemon, or even in the second round going after Tyler Shuck's former Louisville teammate Chris Bell, they have to find another guy who can be a difference maker, who can create separation, contested catches. I don't think they have that on the roster after the first two guys. And I mean, you saw how the depth got beat up, and yes, Tyler Shuck was able to make it work with the other guys, but you don't want to have to play that game of making it work with other guys whenever you're trying to rebuild this franchise and contend. So I think it would be a massive fail. A massive fail if they don't get one with the 8th pick or the 42nd pick.
So, do you believe that the Saints can be a division champion and a threat in the NFC with Chris Olave leading the team in catches and yards?
I mean, that's such an interesting question. I do not. I do not. I think if it was more spread out with top three players in terms of receivers, I would think it'd be beneficial for them to not have Chris Olave being the number one guy with 107 catches or something between 97 and 107 catches and all the yards. It'd be nice to see him at 90 catches, 1,100 yards, 8-9 touchdowns. You'd like to see it spread out a little bit, Hunt. You don't want him to be the constant guy and getting double teamed if you don't have another guy on the roster, another two guys on the roster. So I don't think so. That, just in my opinion, I think that having one receiver doesn't necessarily make the Saints, even in a very bad division, contenders. I just think you got to have more than one. It can't just be Chris leading the way and hoping that you can contend for the NFC South. I truly, genuinely think there needs to be another go-to guy on that roster.
What did Devon Bailey show you before he got hurt?
Man, look, I like his length, his ability to make contested catches. That's what we've said for the previous years before they got Bailey on the roster. I mean, we laughed about the Saints giving up a 4th and 7th, and then realized whenever he started playing, okay, maybe it was worth the 4th and 7th round pick. Having a big guy like that is great. I mean, you need somebody who can go in traffic. You need somebody who can go on third down and go get you that first down, which he did quite a few times when he was out there in the field with Tyler Shuck running the offense. And that was one of the missing pieces they needed in terms of developing Tyler Shuck and developing that passing game. And I think that that's a number 2 receiver. That's exactly what you want from a number 2 receiver. I don't want to make the comparison, but you saw Marcus Colson do a lot of that in the times with Drew Brees, getting down there, making those catches down the field, taking the hits, and getting those first downs. And I can see that with Bailey. I wish we could have seen more with Tyler and Devon, but it just wasn't the case because of the injury. So I think they're set there with 1 and 2. So I like that Bailey had, was brought along in the offense, and I think I think a lot of us would say he's going to continue to grow.
There's a report that the Saints worked out Zachariah Branch, who was at USC when LSU played him a couple of years ago, was at Georgia this past year. He's on the smaller side. He's really fast. He's got kick returning ability. He is the advanced version of Mason Tipton, but he is not a big-bodied wide receiver, a big-bodied target. He is sub 6 feet tall. If they decided that was a guy they wanted to bring in based on his skill set, would you be okay with that?
I've gone back and forth on it because Chris not being that big of a guy and Tipton not being that big of a guy, I feel like me personally, not my offense obviously, but I would want somebody who's like in that 6'2" range who can get down the field. Now, like I am a big fan of Carnell Tate, but just because I'm a big fan of Carnell Tate doesn't mean he's going to be there at number 8, and it doesn't mean that if he's there at number 8, the Saints are going to take him. I mean, I would definitely do it, and they've had success with Ohio State receivers, with Chris as well as Michael Thomas. So, I mean, it doesn't hurt. To me, speed kills. We know that. Speed kills in the NFL, and we've seen what Kellen Moore's offenses have looked like with different skill set players in terms of the receivers. And, yeah, it could work. But I would like to see them get a big body guy who can put them down the field with some speed. So that's why I lean toward a guy like Carnell Tate if he's there at number 8, or even Chris Bell if he's there in the second round. Look, Branch, there's nothing wrong with him. He's a good player. But you're essentially having almost the same type of player, a speedy guy who can, zigzag and get down the field. I just want somebody who can do a little bit of everything.
Sharif Ishak is our guest, WDSU down in New Orleans. Kellen Moore out at the owners' GM's meetings this week said that he loves Alvin, expects him to be on the team. It was kind of a non-committal answer, but more than he gave 2 weeks ago when asked kind of the same question. How much do you think Kamara factors into the passing game for this Saints team, especially if he's not the number 1 back? You signed one of those.
Look, I kind of wish Kellen Moore would have said that 2 weeks ago instead of saying it yesterday, but it's good for him to get out in front of it and say the actual, hey, he's under contract. We are happy to have him on a team. So I say you look at him as a number 2 running back. Yeah, he can help out in the passing game, throw him in the slots. Maybe not, not give him so many carries. Just keep him fresh for if he's on the roster, which I think should be on the roster. You can keep him fresh, man. You can use him in so many different ways. I understand the age thing, but if you can just limit his touches and carries and use him in like very opportunistic part of the field and opportunistic downs, I think it works. I think it works in the passing game. For a while, he was really good in the passing game, and you could line him up in the slot, and he could beat a linebacker in any route. And I still think he has some of that. So I think I really would like to see them use that to their advantage this season, now that they have Travis on the roster. And, of course, they still have the other guys behind Travis and Alvin if Alvin remains on the roster. But don't put it past them to get another running back. I know they got a bunch of guys, but they see somebody good in the draft in the 4th or 5th round, maybe they add another guy. I mean, I've seen mock drafts that have still taken another running back.
It's interesting. I'm curious to see how this offense finally shakes out after the draft is behind us. Sharif, we got just one more question here for you. We'll move on from the Saints. Pelicans kind of looked good for a while there, and now they've lost 5 in a row. You got 2 weeks to play. What is left on the string here for the next 2 weeks, and do we see some wholesale changes coming at the end of it?
I think it's just like, let's just go ahead and sim all the way to the end of the season.
Yep.
Honestly, I mean, just avoid not getting injured, avoid some of your stars staying healthy. I mean, keeping your stars healthy. And I'm anxious to see if anybody gets shut down. I want to see if any of these star players shut down, if they're going to play these final few games of the regular season. And I think there's a little bit of pride, obviously, to show that, like, James Brigo, he's probably obviously coaching for his job.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to get the job. I personally think it's going to be someone else. But that's what we're looking at. And as for wholesale changes, Hunt, we can't keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. It's time. They have to figure out which player or players don't work. And to me, it's crazy to think he's played most of the season. Zion Williamson is probably the guy you have to trade, and maybe even Herb Jones, in order to get this ball rolling once again and get the pieces that you need in order to make this work. Because I still think they need an athletic big. They need an athletic big and one more wing probably. So I see changes coming. I mean, you can't sit around and tell me, let's run it back again for, the 8th season, and the same thing happens again. So I think changes are going to come.
We'll see in a couple of weeks. Sharif Ishak, WDSU down in New Orleans. Thanks, man.
All right, boot up.
Boot up, he says, as Will Wade back in town. I'll give you a second on that, Jordan. I saw a tweet earlier this week that was like, look, Zion Williamson stayed healthy all year. He scored at a nice clip. He shot a high percentage.
Please.
And no, the point is, like, he did everything you kind of expect him to do, and the team won 24 games. Like, then what's the point? Like, get him out of here.
Yeah. No, get him out of here. There is nothing left to be said about Zion Williamson and his time in New Orleans. Nothing left to be said about this Pelicans team. You're going into year 8 next season, no playoffs, not even coming close. It would have been different if the Pelicans were knocking at the door. You're not even knocking at the door. You're asking for a ride to get to the party. You can't even get to the party. You didn't have a chance of even walking up to the door of the party and being like, hey, man, I know a guy in there maybe. You're not even close. You're not close this year. You wasn't close last year. It needs to be blown up. I don't know why they keep trying to run this core through the mud. Like we've seen teams in the NBA have less time together with better results, and they're gone. Memphis Grizzlies have been significantly better than the Pelicans the last 5 years, and that core is poof, gone, draft picks at this point. I'm tired.
Look, to the point I made, like Zion, 52 games, which is a good amount. There's 2 weeks left. He shot 60% from the floor, averaged 20 points a game. You won 25 games.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just not – there's nothing positive about that. He's done what he can do. It's not a what if. Like, what if he – no, he's played plenty, and they don't win. So –
he's got to go.
I would agree with that.
Hunt, he's one of the only – I think it was 1 or 2 number 1 overall picks that have never played a playoff game. He's one of them. Yeah. And other guys like some bust. I think it's like Anthony Bennett or something.
Anthony Bennett's got to be.
I'm about to say it has to be Anthony Bennett. So,
got to be.
Like, it's nasty.
All right. We'll come back and close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com, HighlandIG.com. Commercial, property, and casualty insurance. Go with the guys at Highland Insurance Group. I've had the pleasure of sitting down with them on multiple occasions and talking some insurance. They really know their stuff. And if what you've done with your business is just hand the business of your insurance to the guy who walked in and just had the lowest price tag on the back page of the proposal, it's one way to do it, but do you know what's on the inside of that proposal? Do you know what's on the inside of those policies? Do you know that you're being properly covered? You should be able to trust your insurance agent, not just pick the guy, not just pick the gal with the lowest price. They're going to take care of you from a price perspective, the Highland Insurance Group. They know that's important, but they're also going to make sure your coverage is right, from EPL insurance, crime insurance, building valuations, umbrella limits, what you need for your directors and officers insurance. No matter what the line of coverage is, they've got a carrier that knows your line of work and can make sure that you're placed properly. So if you've never truly analyzed your policy and want a second set of eyes on it just to make sure that you're properly covered as a business, check with Jonathan Carbo and his team at the Highland Insurance Group. They're online at HighlandIG.com.
Transform your living space with Lacoste & Young Remodeling and take your home from outdated to outstanding. Redefine your kitchen for the ultimate culinary experience, or elevate your daily routine with a spa-worthy bathroom retreat. Our skilled team brings 3D modeling to life to ensure your vision becomes a reality. We believe luxury should be accessible and offer tailored solutions to fit your budget without compromising quality. So contact us today for a free estimate. Lacoste & Young Remodeling, providing perfect solutions for your dream home.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we know each case and client are unique, and that no 2 cases are the same. But one thing remains constant, and that is our passion to help our clients. After an accident, we know your life has changed, which is why we passionately fight to make you and your family whole. Remember, whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. We're here to serve you.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free confidential help now.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at Decision Critical.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Remind you of our friends at Immense. Incredible to work with on the IT side of things. When you think IT, you probably just think about a computer freezing up. Can you help me? You may think about your IT person who's constantly overwhelmed, which happens. If that's the case, think about Immense. Talking about a complete revamp of your IT with some support. They can help your current IT staff. They don't have to replace your IT staff, but they can help. They can help with QuickBooks and Salesforce and other CRMs. They can allow your IT staff to be a little bit more flexible and focus on things a little bit more while they handle other issues. A lot of times people in business don't even know there's an issue with their IT. But if you've got Immense monitoring your IT 24/7, 365, they'll be able to protect it so you can keep things running. Last thing you want to worry about is information technology. You want to worry about your business. Let Immense handle your IT. No contracts. They're just here to help. If you got 50 to 100 employees, that's really their sweet spot at Immense. They're based here out of Baton Rouge. They can help you out from Lake Charles to Mandeville. If you've just got one IT person that's constantly overwhelmed, check in with Immense and see if that's a great fit for you. Find them online at immense.net, immense.net. All right, take it or leave it.
I'll take it.
I'll take it, Mitch.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Hunt, I hope you have seen the video yet with Coach Dan Hurley and the referee after the game with the headbutt.
I have.
Seen it? All right, so the referee, Roger Ayers, he was involved in that bizarre situation. He is not among the referees assigned to officiate the Final Four, so not calling a tech on Hurley in that situation cost him this opportunity. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave it. That's certainly not why he wasn't. I don't know if you know this about me or not, Jordan. I am so anti-technical. I am so anti-ejection.
Okay.
I don't care at all about the emotional well-being of the umpires and referees. Now, physical contact is different, and I will absolutely grant that. And there are instances where you have to give a technical or you have to throw somebody out. If a baseball manager simply will not leave the field of play, he must be ejected. Yeah. If somebody throws a punch in a basketball game, you got to go. But I just go nuts when somebody says something from the dugout or bench and we're throwing people out left and right. Like in LSU baseball's national final against Coastal Carolina, the Coastal coach is talking from 35 feet away and is ejected in the biggest game of his life. I cannot reconcile that. Now, this is a little bit different because there was contact, but I applaud the official for not giving a technical. I think that's great.
100%. This guy has balls of steel because Hurley do that. And hey, what? Headbutt me right now in this situation? Come on, man. All right, so Coach Aaron Glenn says he sees Geno Smith in a different light. He says, I feel like Geno's the guy that's going to lead us to the promised land.
I heard that.
So is Geno leading the Jets to the promised land? Take it or leave it?
I'm going to leave that. Jesus himself. I mean, he's coming soon. We got Easter coming up this weekend.
Coming back.
That may be the guy you need under center, taking the snaps for the Jets if we're going to make that happen. Mark Sanchez just about got there.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know that Geno Smith's going to be getting the Jets to the promised land. But I appreciate Coach Glenn for giving the quote.
So what if he means the promised land like the number one pick? Like he might be able to lead us to the promised land and get the number one pick. We saw the Raiders.
That may happen.
You know?
He's so bad, we're going to get our next quarterback thanks to him. Now that's thinking outside the box. I can appreciate that. Perhaps that's more in line with what Coach Glenn was talking about. But I would submit that if the Jets are the worst team in the league in year 2 under Aaron Glenn, he may not be making the pick. So we'll see.
So that's it for Take It or Leave It?
That's it for Take It or Leave It, huh? Such a busy day. So much content afoot. This is my favorite time of year. We got spring football. We talked about it. LSU's got a new basketball coach. We talked about it. LSU's got a baseball team in action tonight. We talked about it. NFL draft's coming up. We talked about it. There's so much to cover from this perspective that it's a fun show. If you missed any of our LSU stuff, Hunt on LSU is where you can find it. Missed any of our Saints stuff, including who they may be drafting, Hunt on Saints is always a handy spot to follow things on YouTube. Tigers and Southern tonight from the box. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Sports trivia at Court to Table tonight at 8 o'clock. Come on out and see us. Matt's going to drive you home next. We're back tomorrow. Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing, lifetimeroofingla.com. Lifetimeroofingla.com is that website. Look, let Lifetime Roofing come inspect your roof if you think you may have an issue. Whether you think you may have an issue because you've got issues with your electric bill, if you think you got an issue because there's dripping and there's water, whatever reason you think you've got an issue, let Lifetime Roofing come check it out. They're not going to just come in and say, hey, most expensive thing we got's a new roof, so you're up. No, they're going to expect it. If it just needs a repair, they'll do the repair. If it just needs to be fortified, maybe just a tune-up, they'll do the tune-up. And if it is a new roof, they're happy to help you out with that. And with that comes a lifetime workmanship warranty. Lifetime workmanship warranty. That includes, of course, the workmanship, but as well as the materials, which are backed by CertainTeed. You're looking for financing, 0% up to 18 months. So you're getting that workmanship warranty. You're also getting the financing. Go with Lifetime Roofing. Check them out online at lifetimeroofingla.com. Lifetimeroofingla.com.
At Raising Cane's, we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce.